Morning, and welcome to a new episode of Meatpacking Unpacked, Community Connected, brought to you by the Meatpacking District. This is our third episode of Unpacked, and we're excited to keep the program rolling. My name is LeFrancois, and I'm the Executive Director of the Meatpacking Business Improvement District. Meatpacking Unpacked, our new thought leadership series, brings you conversations from the Meatpacking District and the city's cultural, political, and business world. Subscribe to our YouTube channel for updates and episodes. Today, I'm joined by the New York City Commissioner for Small Business Services, Jonnel, Doris. The Department of Small Business Services provides a suite of services to New Yorkers and their businesses. And they also provide support for business improvement districts. It's an agency that looks to provide opportunity that leads to economic self-sufficiency, connecting New Yorkers to good jobs, to create stronger businesses and thriving economies across the 5 boroughs. Prior to taking the lead at SBS, Commissioner Doris held the role of the city's senior advisor and director of the Minority and Women-Owned Business Enterprise. Under his leadership, the city more than doubled its certifications to 9,620 MWBEs, tripled its utilization, and awarded over $14.6 billion in contracts to those businesses. He also has extensive experience in the energy, utility, government, and business sectors, having worked at public utilities in Long Island, the Power Authority, Keyspan, and with experience in both state and city government. So with all that, Commissioner, welcome and thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much, Jeff.
Absolutely. So you're the city's newest commissioner at quite an interesting time. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
What's the learning curve been? What's that experience been like in the past? It's been a month or so, would you say? Not even?
Well, it's been 2 weeks, and this is my 3rd week, so I'll be ending my 3rd week now. First of all, look, thanks for having me on, and really to your listeners and those who you work with in the BID. Thank you guys for all that you do to keep the city going. It's been a very exciting time. I've been working with small businesses, in the city for some time. And this is just another opportunity for me to continue that work. I'm very excited about it. It's been, a lot of work in 2 weeks. We are talking about reopening. We are looking back at some of the challenges we've had in the past. We are helping businesses solve really unique challenges that this COVID crisis has brought on. So listen, we're excited. We are getting our agency going. We're retooling our efforts, and we're looking forward to getting businesses up and running again.
That's great. And a lot of people don't know what SBS is because I think the majority of people aren't business owners.
Yeah.
So, sort of a layperson, how do you describe what the agency does and how it helps, how it sort of fits into New York's government structure?
Oh, absolutely. We are the city's, I would say the biggest advocate for small businesses. We help businesses start, we help them operate, we help them grow. We provide all the resources that they need, from technical assistance, supporting them to understand what it really means to run a business, or the challenges that you may find on the financial side, and all the issues from in between. So we also help New Yorkers connect to jobs. We run the Workforce One centers. We help over 100,000 people a year in some capacity when it comes to workforce. We do training, resume writing, interview prep. We help businesses also find employees. Right now, for instance, we have 300 employers who are seeking 4,000 employees. We are connecting them to them. We are making sure that they do it. We also help build thriving neighborhoods, working with our bids, such as your bid and others around the city to make sure that those communities are also functioning well and they have the resources that they need to survive.
So with regards to the job connecting, do businesses let you guys know what they're looking for, and then you sort of liaise between the workforce and the employer?
Absolutely. So if an employer is seeking workers, we can help facilitate that for them. We have 18 now Workforce One centers across the city. And as New Yorkers go into those sites, they're connected to the jobs that we have listed there and the employers that we have listed there. And again, we do screenings. We make sure that we're connecting you to the right place. And if you need some sort of training to get you up to speed or up to par on the requirements, we also provide that.
Wow. And this is obviously, I mean, that's a great program. And this is something that folks can find out. Businesses and people seeking a job can go online and check out where those centers are and all that good stuff.
Absolutely. You just go to our website, and nyc.gov/SBS. Everything is there. You'll be able to check it out and, let us know if you have any challenges. You can also call
That's
311.
really good to know on both sides from the employee and employer perspective. Will definitely help promote that. Okay, so now about the Meatpacking District. When you hear Meatpacking District, when you think of the Meatpacking District, what comes to mind for you, Commissioner?
Well, it's a unique district. Some of the things I've been hearing, some of the things I've seen, three main things. One, you guys are, really making some use of your properties, adaptive use of your properties. You have local designers painting murals. I'm hearing, I'm seeing on boarded up storefronts. That's very, very unique. You have new public spaces, how you're using those, participation in the open streets. By the way, I think which is important in this time, having the ability to pivot as a business and as a bid, right, to the new public open spaces that we have in our Open Streets program, and also how you use technology. You guys are leading the way in many ways, like today, weekly videos, and also video chats with business owners, happy hours, DJ sets. I mean, you guys are not only doing so good by businesses, you're having a lot of fun doing it too.
It's true. Thank you for that. Really appreciate it. Um, it's kind of like it's to the extent that you jumped in, just 3 weeks ago. Everybody's been diving in, and I think that I'm sure you witnessed it in your previous role in the MWBE program, but how the ingenuity behind what New Yorkers are doing and entrepreneurship is just across the board. What's helping the city still go forward even at this time of pause?
Absolutely. Listen, when I took over the reins at SBS, there are five key principles that we were building on, and really three of them speaks to what you're saying now. One is around innovation. We cannot move forward as an agency, as businesses, as a city, if we're not innovative, creative, looking for solutions, out of the ordinary solutions, ability to pivot, etc., in order to survive during this time and then ultimately come out of this and thrive, right? Secondly, about collaboration. I think this is it was important before and folks understood what that meant, but this is a new real business model of survival. We have to figure out how to collaborate more together, connect with one another, businesses, government, business to business, business to customer, making sure that we all are understanding that we're in this together. And then the third one is adaptability, which again speaks to that flexibility. Are you flexible enough? Are you nimble enough as a business? What do you need to do in order to be able to withstand maybe another pandemic or some other catastrophe that may happen? And so, we thought Sandy was a really tough time for the city, but this is something totally different and totally unique. And I think, we have to prepare ourselves, be innovative, willing to work together in our collaborative efforts, and also understanding that we need to be adaptable and flexible in order for us to actually make it through these trying times.
I think that's really important, the adaptability and allowing businesses to figure out how they can pivot and continue to provide
Yeah.
to New Yorkers. I mean, it's funny, last week, in 2 days, we had 5 restaurants reopen for takeout and delivery. And that was a wow moment of realizing the demand is there, that folks are more willing to do that takeout delivery thing, which I think bodes well for the sort of short, medium term, long term as well.
Yeah.
And then just figuring out how businesses can adapt in this moment has been, just what do you speak of, that business to customer relationship, figuring that out, and how to make it work. You mentioned the open streets thing. We see it as a real way to help business work. And I know there's been conversations happening inside City Hall, and there was legislation introduced yesterday. But what's SBS thinking through, and what are you guys talking about when it comes to open streets and allowing business to, sort of think about street space differently?
Yeah. So Our role is to make sure we're hearing from businesses what will work for them. And I think, we don't want to underestimate that component of the work. It is a critical component of the work. We need to understand what will work for you. And so we've been listening to businesses. We've been on webinars like these. The mayor has set the sector advisory councils, which there's a small business one, which I host those meetings. And the chairs are two deputy mayors, Thompson and Bean. And, we listen to small businesses over and over again, hearing what they have to say. So I think that's important. So that's one of the key things and the key roles that we play in this process. And then also, not only that, we want to make sure that whatever we come up with as a city, it doesn't present a regulatory hurdle or challenges for our small businesses. And so our job is to make sure that whatever is coming out of these plans does not hurt small business more than it helps them, right? And we're like the buffer in between. We want to make sure that that's happening. And then the last piece, which I think is just critical, it is the technical support, the training, helping those businesses to adapt, giving them the education that they need in order to do so. And that's what we feel our role is primarily, but also on the innovative side, thinking through the solutions. I think that is what drives our work. And also, as you mentioned, making sure that it's done in an equitable way, meaning that everybody's at the table, everyone has a chance to survive, and everyone has a chance to give input.
Yeah, I think that it's so critical when you think about the city, and your role is dealing with businesses across 5 boroughs. Our district is very different than what you're dealing with in other parts of Manhattan and Bronx, Brooklyn, all that kind of stuff. So figuring out how everybody can be at the table and getting a shake out of it is really critical right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
The restaurant industry is figuring itself out. When I think of SBS, I often actually don't think of their association with restaurants. Is there specific stuff you guys are thinking about at all in terms of the hospitality industry and what you're doing or thinking about differently?
Yeah, I think we are thinking about the hospitality industry. It's a significant portion of our small businesses in the city. As you know or heard of, the mayor signed relief packages that dealt with fees and fee relief and also anti-discrimination this past week. For our restaurants, this is so important. It prohibits the third-party food delivery service from charging you a fee when there is no sale at the end of it, right? Which has been going on. So our restaurants have been really, adamant about that reality and how it's cutting into their profit margins and their ability to thrive in the city in this time. We also cap fees for those third-party food delivery service to 15% if they actually deliver and 5% if you deliver. I mean, they can only charge that. They were doing upwards of 20 and 30% in some instances. We also suspended a collection of indoor and outdoor sidewalk cafe fees for the duration for a year.
Fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. So look, we want to reduce the burden, again, the regulatory burden and the hurdles. And so that's what we've been doing at SBS, making sure that we push back on fines and the punitive sort of damage that happens to small businesses, particularly restaurants, who, it's hard to manage the cash flow, the customer base, the competition. We don't want the city to be part of that problem, right? So our job is to help alleviate that. By the way, the mayor a few years back started the SB1, the Small Business One or Small Business One portal and initiative, and that helps us really deal with fines across the city. And we've been able over the last 4 years to get about $100 million back in the hands of small businesses across the city, with reducing of fines and restructuring how the city go about giving out fines to small businesses, and that includes restaurants. So look, that's our role. That's what we're doing, making sure that small businesses can survive, and we're not in the way or a part of the problem, but we're there to help and assist them.
That's great. That's really good to hear. I mean, it's just figuring out as we go right now, and literally everybody on the ground is doing that. You mentioned red tape and being a part of figuring out how it can be reduced. Have you been hearing anything, or is this stuff that your team is thinking about in terms of, all right, we've got a whole bunch of laws on the books, and the city council is prone to legislating as much as we might want them to pump the brakes on that sometimes. Are there specific things on the books, we waived the sidewalk cafe fees, that you can think of that it might be a good idea to just lay off on for a year? What else in the portfolio sort of suite of regulations might be useful to think about reinterpreting, relaxing a little bit so that it's easier for folks to open back up? Have you guys begun to thought about what that might look like?
Yeah, yes, of course, we've been thinking about what can we do to help sort of move that agenda even further. I would just say this, not trying to make too much news here today, but look,
Please do.
We're looking at everything from the way we look at violations that pertains to health and safety, which we are making sure that we monitor. Noise violations, we're looking at that. We're looking at fees for operation. What types of fees or licenses, etc. I mean, that everything is really on the table, and we're looking at it all. And certainly, as the weeks and months come, you will probably hear some more announcements around that. But we understand the challenges and the regulatory constraints that operating a business in New York City has, and so we're looking at everything. I'll just say that we're looking at everything, and we'll be making those announcements in the future.
Good. Well, thank you for that. I have to ask. I noticed on, I forget what profile it was of yours. Why are you a retired drummer already? You seem quite young, Jonnel. What's that mean there?
Well, I started playing drums when I was 6 years old, and I just don't have the time anymore. I've been playing it for many years. I taught music, taught kids to play. I mean, everything, but I just say I'm retired because I just don't have the time to play.
It's not a regular thing as it used to be.
Yeah. I mean, I've got some chops left, but not as I used to. That's a good catch there.
Got it. I did a lot of theater growing up, and I say now I get my fix from the piano bars and going to karaoke every once in a while.
Tell me about
and getting on the stage myself. So I was curious to know what that meant for you.
Yeah, no problem.
Well, okay. Thank you for all those really technical answers in this conversation. Now I want to unpack a little bit more about you besides being a retired drummer. You still had some chops, which I'm glad to hear. We all need to have an outlet in this, especially in this day.
Tell me about it.
But 5 sort of fire round, easy answer questions that we want to know a little bit about where you're from. So, number 1, coffee or tea?
Coffee.
And how do you take your coffee?
With cream.
Got it. Public transit or bicycle? Preference getting around?
Public transit.
Got it. News radio or newspaper?
Newspaper.
Park picnic or beach visit?
Park picnic.
Museum or performance art venue?
50-50.
Totally appropriate answer, especially in this town.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything else you want to add in terms of what you guys are working on or what you'd like to share? Because, everybody is scrambling for a lot right now, and we appreciate your time in joining us today and want to make sure if there's something to get out there, folks should know about it.
Well, Jeffrey, look, we just want folks to know that we're here for them. And if you have any needs, be it financial or need for workers or any type of challenges that you're facing, please reach out to us. You can call 311 or you can visit our website at nyc.gov/COVID-19 BIZ. And Jeffrey, I mean, I'm sure you guys will make that available to everyone, but We want you to
Absolutely.
know that we want you to survive. We want you to thrive, and we are here to help you. And so whatever we can do to be of assistance, of course, we work closely with the BID, but we want to also let you know that you can reach directly out to us, and we'll help you get through this.
We really appreciate that. And again, thank you for joining us today and unpacking a bit of the agency, a little bit about you and what you guys are doing. We really appreciate it. And next week on Meatpacking Unpacked, join us for a conversation with Robert Hammond, co-founder of Friends of the High Line, of course, based out of the Meatpacking District. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and stay tuned to hear more about what we have coming up in the Meatpacking District and from the city's cast of characters. So thank you, and we'll see you next week, everybody.
Thanks, Jeffrey.
Jonnel, thank you. We really appreciate it. That was great. And just so you know, I know Sam is listening, and we'll put this out tomorrow. And then what we've been doing is pulling like little good sound clips of things you've said, and we're pushing those out sort of separately on social as well. And you made good news, if anything, so that's a good thing, right?
Yes, we don't want to be, not too many news there, man. You got to be careful.
I hear you. Trust me, I get it.
Thank you, Jeffrey. We'll be in touch.
Absolutely, man. Have a good day. Good to talk to you.
You too.
Take
Bye-bye.
care.